back to sculpting in Nomadsculpt. We are making a robot, and right now we are focusing on one of its arms. Earlier in the day, we started the arm and we got most of it done. We're gonna make this top platform with the spikes, and yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. Just making sure everything sounds good. Yep, there it is. Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do first is go into our project, our scene, and we are going to add a sphere. Now we always do after the autosave. After the autosave, we validate it, increase the size, and we go to the fourth option in, and we go to decimation, and we always like to lower the amount of polygons. Decimation is just a way to lower the amount of polygons. I like to go where it says sphere, like that first option. If it says below 1,000, I think that's good enough. What that does is it lowers the amount of polygons in the sphere, and it gives us this weird clay look, and that's what I like. And it also makes it so that we can do a lot more in each scene without using too much memory. Alright, so now that we have it decimated, we're gonna make it nice and big. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to emulate that shape, that arch sort of shape. But I think with the spear, it's the best way to go about it. So you can leave it wherever it is. What we're gonna do is we're gonna clone it, and then we're going to either make it a little bit bigger. We're gonna bring it down, bring it over, and it'll give us like this dome. It's hard to see because of it's the same thing. It gives us like this dome. Or you can make it smaller too. Make it smaller, and then move it up and in. You see how it's making that dome shape? So what I want to do is I want to hollow out this shape here, and in order to do that, I think we're going to make it a little bit bigger and have it all centered like that right there. So now that we have the size that I think that I want, we're going to go where it says spear and spear 1, and under spear 1 we're going to turn off the eye, but then we're going to select them together. And at the top is a thing called Boolean. I don't know if that's exactly how to say it. It's Boolean, and we're gonna do this, and what that's gonna do is hollow out the thing, hollow out our shape. As you can see, it's all like wonky on the edges. That's because we have the polygons low. So if you don't want to do that, you can multi-res and subdivide the polygons, and it'll straighten it out. Well, I guess not, because of the way that we decimated it. So, but let's see. Let's add some more polygons to our main ball. Let's bring up the polygon a little bit, subdivide it. All right, I think that should be good. And then we're gonna try this again, and bring it down, bring it over, and expand it a little bit. And now we go to spear 2, turn that off, highlight spear 1, Boolean, and now we got this hollowed out arch that we can manipulate however we want to. But it's not an arch that we need, like this dome. We only need like the center strip. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move it away from the midline. We're gonna rotate it to the side. Ooh, not the bottom. We're gonna rotate to the side. Come up the top, so make it look sort of like even, like still like it's a sphere. So we're gonna come at this angle here and leave it there just like that. And we're gonna use our trim tool on a rectangle and cut off one side. Bang, just like that. Then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. It's not gonna be even, but that's okay. And cut off a little bit more. Bang. And then now when we go back to what we were doing, we have more of that shape. looks more like that shape. And we can try to use the move tool and adjust it some. I'm going to make it wider and longer. See, I just affected the archway. So now we can try to move this in position. It's just gonna go right over top of this, like so. Now what I also wanna do is try to cut some of it. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger, and then I'm gonna cut some of this top edge off because it's too rounded. I kind of want it to be like a little straighter. So we're gonna trim this edge here, bang, oop, undo. We gotta turn off symmetry. And then trim that edge, and now it looks a little bit straighter. Turn it. And it's more to my liking. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Bring it in some. Just because I wanted to have this weird shape on the arm. I don't know why I wanted this shape, but you know, sometimes that's where creativity takes you, and that's where you go. So now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this piece here and we're gonna clone it, because there's two things that I want to do. I want to give it some, I want to get spikes and put it all over it, but I also, like, in my head I see a little bit more of, like, I don't know, a variation. So there's two ways we can do this. We can either go up here to our layer tab under the mesh and add a layer to it, or we can clone it. And the reason I kind of like the idea of cloning it over using the layer, because once I clone it, if I wanted to make this pattern like glowing and stuff, I have that option. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna clone it, and then we're gonna leave it exactly where it's at. I'm gonna make it a little smaller. See how it dropped down? I'm gonna raise it up some. Cloned it, it's a little bit smaller. And make it a little bit bigger again. Not too big. Actually, you know what? We're just gonna leave it in position. We have cloned. Let's drop it back all the way down. Alright, so now it's the same. Alright, so now we have two of them. Before we start going any further, we're gonna name the original one shoulder guard. Shoulder guard base. Now this mesh one, we're gonna affect it first before we start naming it. We're gonna leave it there. And now we can do the thing with the layer. We're gonna add a layer, and now we're gonna affect this layer. And what I want to do is go to the drag tool. And the drag tool does exactly what it says. It drags pieces of it. You can make it bigger or smaller, and you can affect how it drags. I like this scratch alpha. You can change it to the flat or whatever. You can add your own. You can make stuff in Procreate and add it over. But I like the scratch one. I'm going to scale it up a little bit. I'm going to leave the fall off and everything exactly how it is. I just needed this version of it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab it, and did you see what just happened there? It made like these tiny little mountains all over. Tiny mountains. Now if I wanted to make those mountains a lot bigger, which is exactly what I do, you just keep dragging at the same spot. Now I feel like this is like some like a different variation of the idea that I originally had. You just keep pulling them, and it makes it bigger, and the spikes will grow. So I'm gonna pull all around this and put these spikes like this. They're not gonna be perfect, but that's okay. But this is more the idea that I had in my head of what this is gonna look like. But I also am gonna just put the spikes there because I don't know, I like that idea too. So we move it around and in space. And we pull, and make them bigger, and they don't have to be even, but it looks like furry and spiky, and I like that a lot. I think I raised it up too much over there. Yeah, it's starting to, okay, we're gonna leave it like that. And now we can name this mesh one that also has its own little layer. We're gonna name it SG Spikes, or SG fur. For the shoulder guard fur. I think it's furry, like, so what I'm gonna do, now that we have that layer like that, we're gonna gizmo it, we're gonna shrink it down and move it up and out, so that it's not coming through the shoulder guard, but it's sitting on top of it, kind of like that. I don't know, maybe we can leave it how it is, leave it big, because it's still mounted on top of it, and it's its own separate entity. So if I wanted to make it additive and make it glowy like that, I can. Or if I wanted to make it dithering and make it like a negative like thing and just paint it like it's fur, we'd have to do that in PBR for it to make sense. But anyway, we'll get to that later. But the idea changes as we go. So I like this, but I also want those big instance spikes. So there's two ways we can do it. We can make a cone, or we can go into our additive box here and add and just hit cone, and it'll make this cone for us. And we're gonna take that cone, or we could go down here in our tools and make a tube. So I'm gonna make one of each. So from the cone tool, after we validate it, we always, we go to decimate, so we use less and less polygons, and that's fine. I like the clay look that happens when you do that. Decimate it again. And then we're gonna take the y-axis and make it longer. I think that's the y-axis, right? It's y. Well, we're gonna take the green axis and make it longer, and then we're gonna go to the outer portion and scale it down, and then make it longer again, and then scale it down one more time, make it longer, even longer. And then we got this pointy little spike. I kind of want to make it a little bit fatter. And then we got this pointy spike. That's the first way to do it. Then we can manipulate it. Next, we're going to go to the tube tool, go to path, pull a straight line, and then we're going to make this into existence. Now, we can do this. We need multiple radiuses, because one radius just makes it thin or thicker. But with two radiuses, it'll keep the base however it needs to be, and we can make it the top all the way into a point. And we just got a spike. Look at that. It took a lot less time, but we made a spike. And that's how you do it with the tube tool. So either one is a good, valid way to do it. We're gonna get rid of the cone. I don't know. I like the cone, but anyway, we use the tube tool. It made it a lot quicker. So then we're gonna validate it again, tone it down, decimate it until it is low polygon count, because we're gonna make a lot of these. And then we're gonna use the blue axis to angle it, and we're gonna move it into place with the red axis, move it closer to it, boop, right there. It's good enough, right? So now we got one spike. Now again, we have all these extra tools in here where we can take this tube, that's why we're not gonna name it, and we can array it, we can curve it, we can radial it, and we can mirror it. I'm going to go with array. Now, what array does, here, let's move it out so you can see exactly what this thing does. Let's use the gizmo tool, let's move it out. It'll give you the y-axis, the z-axis, and the x-axis. And what it does is, it'll like, these sliders will give you more of them. And it makes crazy amounts of spikes. And then you can space it out with the size of all of them. You can space them out how far apart you want them. You want them even. It'll give you all these spikes. Make the crazy amount of count, the size. The problem with this is, though, it's like, how do I put it? Oh, okay, I can adjust it that way too. Okay. It's too even. I like it a lot, but it's just too even. See, they're evenly spaced out, and they're, I don't know, 4 in a row. They're all aligned. I don't want to do that. So for some things, it's cool. The array works, and the radial works, and all that. But we're gonna delete that, and we're just gonna have our 1, 2. Now here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put this one in position here. All right, we're gonna leave that one in position. And you can kind of see it. Let's scale it up, because I need it to be big. You see how it's jetting through? We're gonna move that up so it looks like it's in place there. And I want to turn it out some. Move it over, turn it out. There's a spike. Alright, we're going to clone it. And we're just going to move it. Rotate it some, move it over, move it down. We're going to check the back of our project to make sure it's not jetting through there. It is a little bit, but that's because I think the surface is a little too thin, but it's fine. I'm going to put that up, put that one there, clone it again, and just drag it and move it around. The array would be a lot quicker, but again, the array makes it too even, and it doesn't look like they're randomly placed. So we're just going to make them and randomly place them, rotate them up, use the gizmo tool to drag it into place. I'm going to check the back side to make sure it's not poking through, and that's good. It's hidden within inside there, so it's fine. And you can, increase or decrease the size of them if you want to, whatever you want to do. Make your spikes however you want to make them. Clone it, rotate, move it up, move it over, so it's not directly on the midline. That was the whole point of doing this, so that they're not all in the same area or in the same room, and it's poking out. Now there's also these little squares where you can grab them and it'll move it in that's a frame of space. So that's also a good tool to use too. We're gonna clone it, move it. Let's see, which way do we want to take this? We're gonna take the blue and put it over there, and it's up there. And we're gonna rotate it some on that axis. And we put it up higher. And we're gonna poke it out the other way. It's like leaning too much inside, so we're gonna lean it outwards so it's not like straight. It's like they're just jagged spikes that were put through this thing. Move it up with the green. There it is there. And we're gonna clone it. We're gonna move it. We're gonna rotate it some. We're gonna move it over off the midline. It looks pretty good. Maybe some lower too. Let's put this one, let's rotate this one up more and move it back so it's like up there, alright? And then we're gonna clone another one. Let's make this one fat. Let's make this one like wide, weirdly angled, and fatter. Why not? Just make different changes to the spikes. There we go. This one's just fatter. We're gonna rotate it some more. We're gonna bring it down and over. Let's lean it outward more and move it closer towards the edge, maybe like that. It's floating in space. I can't have it floating in space. So we're gonna bring that down, bring this down here. And now we got like a bunch of different spikes that were cloned. We can just pick another random one and clone it and move it up, move it over, move it out, rotate it out some, move it over. Not directly in line. And now we got all these random place spikes. Oh, we got to somebody look at our work as we rotate around in space. Move that up one. Alright, so now it looks more like what we have here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I drew 9 of them, but is it represented 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Look at that. I made 9 exactly, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so it would be the original 2 up to 8. So, alright, so now all of these are spikes. So we can name all of them, or we can name one. Hold on, let's pick a spike. Let's go in here, let's go to the original 2. As you can see, it lit up, highlighted that one, the original 2. We're gonna highlight that one and we're gonna name it Spike. And we can sit here and take the next 5 minutes to name them all Spike. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put them all into the subcategory of Spike. Just all the spikes. Spike, spike, into the spike, as you can see. Now we got all of our spikes here, and we're gonna highlight it just to check if we grabbed all the spikes, and look at that, there's all the spikes. So we're gonna put 2 fingers on the screen to undo moving the 9 spikes. But we got all of our spikes there. So now that part of the arm is finished. and it's on separate layers, and they can all be manipulated in some way. So maybe I have the spikes glowing, or I can leave those opaque, and I can go to the fur and have this glowing, or whatever we feel like doing later on when we get to painting and stuff, and make that additive, and it's just this cool glowing fur. Or we make it, again, dithering, and make it like see-through sort of. For now, we're gonna leave it opaque, and I like that for the shoulder. So we have the claws, the hand, we got the cylinder with the spikes on it, we got the arm with the intricate pieces for the arm itself. We have where the arm inserts, and then we have this weird curved hilt here, and in that there's going to be a socket, a ball joint, another ball joint, and then the chest piece. But for now, I think that is this arm. I think we have all the components of this arm. We can turn it into lit PBR and start painting it, honestly, but I'm going to wait until I get everything else in order. So this is the small arm for our berserker guy. Let's see how big it is compared to his head. Alright, so we got that. We're gonna unselect everything. We're gonna turn on the head, and it's pretty big. It's pretty big, pretty long. It seems like the head would go right there where the drawing is at. So yeah, I like it. The scale of it. And that's supposed to be his one skinny arm, and the other arm is supposed to be ridiculously big, so that it can hold this big sword that we made. I'm going to show you guys the sword, so on the scale thing as well. So we're going to unselect the skull, we're going to unselect the arm, and make sure it's just selecting the sword. Show the sword. Oh, what's this ball? Why are you here? Huh. Why did I just do? Where did you come from, buddy? Well, we're gonna delete you because we don't need you, but thanks for playing. And then we have this other spike. Oh yeah, this is the so for later on, we're gonna make some variations of the arm. So I needed to have arm pieces that were made, but they're not real. Anyway, so this is the weapon that he's gonna use with his opposite arm, not this little skinny arm, but I just wanted to show you guys the scale of how big I made this thing. In my head, it's a lot bigger, but I think it's big enough, to be honest. I think it's big enough. It's pretty big. It's a pretty big sword, like a big Buster great sword with glows and it's on fire, or it's like rage and energy and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's my idea for that. But I just wanted to show you guys the scale of it. I think it needs to be bigger, to be honest. Anyway, I'm gonna have a piece on his back where it's just gonna mount there, and then I gotta adjust this little thingy. Gotta work that in space. Oh, let's not get carried away for now. We gotta get to that later. For now, we're gonna get back to the build. I'm gonna turn the sword off. We're gonna unselect it. And then now, since this arm is done, I like it, hand, arm, claw. We're going to turn that off. And then we're going to go to our reference image, and we're going to do the opposite arm. Now, the opposite arm is supposed to be this big, hulking, massive arm that makes the other one look like a joke. And so my idea is to make that. This is the arm that he's going to have, that he's going to hold the sword with. And so that's why I gave him hands, like an actual hand and a palm. Anyway, all right, so that's what we're gonna work on next. We have our head there. You guys didn't get to see me build this, but here's the head. It's kind of cool. It's got some uneven parts and dangly bits, and it's just fun. This is robot 0012. I've made 12 robots so far. You can see them all on my Instagram and my TikTok if you're interested. Yeah, here they are. This is the head. So next thing we're going to do is build that arm. So we can turn off the head. I just like looking at it because it's cool. So now we have a top of the head, a regular sword, a sword that is special, and then one of the arms done. Good. And we're going to add to the scene, and we're going to start with a sphere. Where's our sphere at? I'm trying to zoom out. I don't see him. Validate him. Right, yeah, it's sphere. You can find it by pressing this box here. Boom. See, there it is. I'm going to take you right to it. So this sphere is going to be this upper shoulder piece, this joint here, I guess. So it's just a sphere. It's nice and fat. We're going to decimate, make it nice and clay-like. And I think that's easy enough. And we're done. Look at that. We finished one part already. Hooray. We can just put it right there. Boom. Next, we can either do the shoulder guard, which is an interesting shape. It's sort of like a triangle. But it has like glowing bits. And I just wanted to do something asymmetrical compared to the other thing. So that's what we have here. It's nice and asymmetrical. So what we're going to do is next, we are going to, let's make a cylinder. We're going to save. We always got to save. Even though we have autosave going, we're going to save as we move on. Sphere, we're going to name this bad boy so we can start the other arm. Big shoulder. Big shoulder. Boulder. Boulder. And then parentheses arm. And I do that to label it as an arm, but I like to put whatever piece of it is. So now this is, we know it's the opposite arm. Okay, so now that we have that big shoulder gap thing there, we're gonna add a cylinder. And we're gonna validate that cylinder like we always do. We're gonna move it down underneath our ball. And the fun part about this is that if it's too small when we're done making it, once we have all the pieces in place, we can scale up the entire thing and make it exactly as big as we need it to be. But for now, I'm going to scale it down a little bit and make sure that it inserts into the ball. So scale it down, insert, and it looks pretty good. Maybe just a little bit smaller, or make the ball a little bit bigger. Boop. Hell yeah. Like that. And so now that we got our shoulder connector, we got this piece inserted. Let's make it a little longer. Whoa, 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 easy. Let's just straight up down. There we go. And now we're gonna use the curve tool. We're gonna take that cylinder. We haven't named it yet because we're gonna add some more stuff to it. We're gonna go to the curve tool, which gives us a stack on the cylinder. The first one's like all the way inside of his arm. I kind of like how it was like outside of it, but it's for another day. Okay, I'm gonna bring this down. We're gonna bring this one down too. And what this does is it gives us a fun way to add more to this thing here. So instead of making a bunch of cylinders, you just make one, put the curve tool on it, and now I can make as many as I need. So I extend this out and increase the count, and look at that, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cylinders. And we can add angles to this, and it'll wrap it around, and then it'll either be one solid object or a bunch of like interacting pieces like this. But we don't need all these extra lines, so we're just gonna eat them up. Boop. And now we have this big piece here. All right, so in my design, it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces before it gets to his arm. And I have way more than that. It's not to scale. We make it bigger, it's too big. Radius, drop the radius some. Drive this back. Now what I also want to do is the same thing that we did in the other arm, is make it like different. Hold on. Maybe we need to scale it down a little bit more. Scale it down just a little bit. And now we have this. I'm not going to validate it again because we're going to have an action arm and a regular arm. But we're just going to build the arm, and then when I feel like making action poses, we'll get to that later. But for now, we're going to highlight curve and cylinder and clone them. Now we have curve 1 and cylinder 1. We're going to unhighlight cylinder 1 and just have the curve there. And then we're going to use this radial dial. Instead of making it bigger, make it a little bit smaller. And then we're going to increase the count. Boop, 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 like that. And let's increase the size of it a little bit. We can drop down the count and see. And that's perfect. Because I like to have like this, it looks like it's interlocking, but it's still movable. Whoa, 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 slow down. But it looks movable. That's why there's like the layers like that. And so that's what I want to do for the main component of his giant arm. Now, we're not going to validate these just yet. We are going to highlight curve and curve 1 and cylinder 1, and then clone them. And then turn off curve 4, cylinder 4, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. And now we're going to move curve 1 up, not into the same category, just move it up, and curve. All right, so now we're going to select just curve, and now we can validate it because we have the proportions that we want for this base of the arm, but not the fun arm, but we'll get to that later. So, join children, yes, because we need it to be one piece. And then my favorite part, 10K polygons? No, we're getting rid of that. Decimate, decimate, decimate. And it usually decimates in half. So, I mean, that's enough. That's a lot of polygons, man. All right, so now we have a curve, and now we have curve 1 and cylinder 1. We're just going to hit curve 1. We're going to validate it, and then join children, confirm. What that means is you can either keep it separate pieces or you can make it all one piece. And we're going to make it all one piece, and then again, decimate. 17K, decimate, decimate, decimate. Good enough. Now I made that a lot smaller. We have a lot of room to work with. Okay? So now this is his arm. So now that we have those pieces done, we're going to call this main arm. And then inner arm. If you really want to get fancy, you can make a third one. What I always like to do is like I make the inner arm like additive, and it looks like glowing and red and fun. So, but when we get to painting, there's this double thing that I did there, so we're gonna have to adjust for that. So I think we're gonna switch it, leave this one opaque and leave the outer one, make the bigger ones like additive. Either way, we'll get there when we get there. We're gonna cross that when we cross that. But for now, let's get back to opaque, and then rebuilding the arm. There's more to it. We have to build a giant hand that fits within the circumference of this cylinder, and that's crazy. That's how big I want the hand to be. But let's do the wrist. Let's do this wrist portion here. The wrist portion doesn't have spikes. It has little bulbs. We can make that with spears and a cylinder. So first things first, take a nice little save break there, and then join these into this level, put it all inside the arm, make sure it's all one spot, perfect. And this is where we're going to continue to work. Inside the arm, we're going to add a cylinder, boom. And that cylinder, we're going to validate it, and we're going to grab it and bring it down. Now what I want to do with this cylinder is flatten it out so it looks like that, flatten down and round, and then scale it up. It doesn't need to be this big, but I just like doing this because it makes it easier to move things around in a space. Alright, so we want it there, sort of. Now we're going to shrink wrap it. We're going to bring it in, and then we're going to bring it in this way. That's why we're just going to scale it like this, so that it evenly scales down. Now that everything is scaled down, I'm going to make it a little fatter. And there's some space there. Zoom in too. So it don't have to be super far away. Just make it a little bit straighter. It's too fat, to be honest, so we're going to scale it down. Whoop. And make it over. That's pretty good. Honestly, that's pretty good. It just gives it a little bit of oomph. Man, the hand is going to be so big, because look at the circumference of this thing. Anyway, all right, so now we got the wrist piece. Let's make it a little fatter. There we go. Make it nice and fat. A little bit longer. And we're just going to call it wrist accessory base. Oop. It's not spelled correctly. Wrist accessory base. Cool. That is what I said. That is what I said. All right, so we got that. Next, we are going to add the spears that are around it, and they're going to be glowing. So what we're going to do, check it. All right. Decimate it one more time. Decimate that. That's pretty good on the polygons, I guess. And we're going to add to it a sphere. We're going to validate that sphere. We're going to decimate. Oh, man. I'm going to bring this bad boy down. I'm starting to get a little sad, but it's okay. Just not feeling the best lately. But it's okay. Kind of feeling a little bit lonely, and I don't like it. But here we go. We're going to shrink this down and move it into position. Oh, man. And now we're going to put it inside there. Now what we're going to do to make a bunch of these, because we need a bunch of them, is we're not going to name it yet. We're going to go to add, and we're going to go to radial. And as you can see here, we got 4 of them, but you only see 2. We need to increase the size of this radius. Radial on the y-axis, we need a lot more, and then we got to make it bigger, because there's only 3 of them there. So we go to where it says gizmo, and now there's special options on the gizmo, and we can increase, we can move things around, we can move them up and down, but there is a way to make it wider. I just forget, how do we make this wider? No, that makes it actually wider. That makes it actually wider. I believe it's this green that shows the rotation of it, but it doesn't make it bigger. I'm stumped. I forgot how to make it larger. No, not like that. Is it scale in itself? Well, the scale is crazy now. I'm trying to move it around that axis. Maybe we just needed to scale it. Where'd it go? Oh my god, it's so far away. Alright, and another thing, when you have that, you can use this pivot thing and move it to the center, but I guess it's because it's an array, it has to be there. Move these up. It's so big, it's so big. Let's scale it down. It's almost there, man. It's almost there. So we're just gonna scale it down a little bit more. And move it over. Move it down. Scale it down again. Yeah, so it's this scale tool. That's how we do it. That's how we make it bigger or smaller around the axis. Okay. It's not even. I mean, it is even, but it's not even in the right spot. So scale it down some. That looks a lot better, to be honest. And then we're gonna drop it down. Drop it down into position. Scale it down one more time, just a little bit more. Drop her down in position. And that's how we do that. Something looks off. Are they all off like that? Okay, yeah, maybe we just scale it down one more time. Or we can make this just a little bit bigger. I think we'll be fine by doing that, right? I think that looks fine, just like that. All right, so we're gonna go back to this point in the array, the radial. All Alright, after the autosave, we're gonna save it. We're gonna go to our give mode, validate, join children, make it all one, and then decimate a little bit more, and then we're gonna make it additive, and they all glow around in that space. Looks pretty good. Now we can name it instead of radial. I'm just gonna put WA glow, wrist accessory glow. WA glow. Alright, and then we're gonna take a quick restroom break, and then I'll be right back to continue. BRB. And we're back. Okay. Alright, so we're back. So now that we have our wrist and our arm and our shoulder done, let's do the shoulder cap, the shoulder guard. And for that, we're gonna take our tube tool. I'm gonna go path, and just put it at an angle, like how it is in the picture. We're gonna validate it. Now we need a profile. Now it's not really like a square like that, so we're gonna edit the profile, move it in, it's upside down. Move it in, and then move this in as well. Let's make sure it's even, huh? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more like that. Alright, so now it looks more like the shape that we wanted. And now we can scale it up. Whoa! Look at that. It's already looking like it. How are we going to adjust it so that this is more inward and this is flat like how it is? We will definitely do that in a second. So we're going to increase this over some like that, and then we're going to validate this thing and then decimate it, because I love to decimate. Oh, it's already pretty small. Pretty good. It's already pretty small. Okay, so now that we have it, I kind of want to move it out of position, rotate it just a little bit where it's kind of straight, and so now we need this cutoff on the end. So that's where we go to our trim tool. We're going to make sure this is front facing. It's kind of an angle. It's not perfectly straight. Because I designed it at an angle, the snap tool wouldn't be the best way to make sure that it's perfectly aligned, but that's fine. That's good enough. Again, it's okay to have uneven lines and mistakes and stuff. That's fine. So now we're going to go to the polygon tool, because I think that's a fun way to do it. The line one kind of is iffy sometimes, so we're just going to do a polygon tool. We're going to turn out like that. If you click on the dots, you make it a straight line, and so that's good enough for me. We're making sure we're front facing perfectly. We got that straight line there. We press it, and now that portion got cut out of existence, and now we have the shape that we want. Now I kind of want this hollowed out just a little bit. I don't want it all the way hollowed out. I kind of want the backside to be flat because that's how I have it drawn, but I don't know. I didn't really draw it from this angle, so, but I do want it to be kind of open there, kind of, because there's little glowing pieces here that I have to add, but we'll get to that. So we need to make copies of this anyway for that glowing piece and to make this more hollow. So first we're gonna do the glowing piece. We're gonna clone it. I can move it a little bit and 2 fingers to undo the move, and then we're gonna turn it to the left side or right side, whatever side, and then we're going to expand it out, and we're gonna drop the size of it. Expand it out, drop the size, and what that does is it creates this little panel here, and it looks like it's the same shape. Make it wider, yeah, like that. Now what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna make it glow, and I'm gonna chop it into 4 pieces, like how it is on the design. And we're gonna do all that right now. So we're gonna chop it into design. Well, we can label this one, because this one's gonna be the main. Oh, actually, we need to make another copy of it. So make another clone of it. We can turn that off for now. And then we're gonna go shoulder guard, big. Call it whatever you want. Just get into the habit of naming your pieces. So make sure it's in the arm level. That's all we need. All right. And then we got all these tubes and stuff. I could just left it where it was, but it's fine. We're gonna move up those tubes. Moving up those tubes. I'm so fucking lonely. All right. Now that we have that part, we need to separate them, right? So we're gonna make sure we're on the part that we want. Yep. And then what I can do is go to the bottom of our tool list on the right. You can have it like this square. We can have it along the edge. I like it along the edge. It's just easier to see more of the screen. We're gonna go to the split tool. Split tool, we can use the rectangle. Let's make sure that we're perfectly aligned, and 2 fingers to drag the screen. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it just like that. Bang. Now what happened? Well, let me show you. Let's make the additive. You see it, like what happened? There's another piece there, right? What happened to that piece? Well, if you click, it's still there. It's just, it's its own separate entity now. So we have to make it additive itself so we can see that it's exactly what we wanted shape-wise, and it's there. So next we're gonna go back to this bigger piece, and we're gonna do that again. We're gonna split it again. You can go from beyond it if you want to. It doesn't matter, because it's just gonna split that piece. And we're gonna go gizmo, and it's gonna highlight the bigger piece. I don't know if it always does that, but most of the time, bigger piece is what's highlighted, not the piece that we just cut. So we're gonna move this out. Move this one over. I like to have a little space there to represent those lines. There's probably a better way to do it, but in my head, that's how I do it. So now we're gonna take the big piece and just split it. Cool. And now again, the outer edge piece will be there. We're gonna move this piece over, and we're gonna move this piece. Oh, not in that space. In that space. And now we have what sort of looks like the representation of that shoulder piece with the glowing pieces. Now, I don't need these pieces to be all individual pieces anymore after I did what I did. They serve their purpose as individual pieces, and now we're gonna join them back together. And that's good on spacing. So we're gonna go into tube split 9, tube split 1 and 2. Now we have all that selected. Yep, put it back in place. We're gonna go up here, go to where it says join. Oh, after the autosave. I have the autosave like every 2 minutes or so, because sometimes I forget to save. I haven't saved in a while, even though I just did the autosave, but it's fine. Now this is one solid piece, and it's in position, and it's poking out on both sides. But again, I said I wanted to hollow this out. So now we're gonna go back to this main piece here, and that tube that we turned off, we're gonna leave it turned off. Okay, well, I'm gonna show you guys exactly how to do it. So now we have, this is the main piece, put it back, and it's selected with this secondary piece that's not the main guard. It's a clone of it. Now what I wanted to do is hollow out this edge. I believe it's that edge, the outer edge. I wanted to hollow it out. So what you do is you clone it and you move that piece over and down, and I like to make it more narrow. Well, over and down because of the type of shape it is, made it more narrow. But over and down, still make it smaller, over and down. Now what this is doing is showing me the shape itself of what it's going to be when I go to hollow it out. I don't necessarily want this much of a gap, so we can make this longer like that, and then the gap would be smaller in the back. But all that piece that's sticking out will be hollow. Now how do we do that again? We take that piece that we just did, we're going to keep it selected, but we're going to turn it off. And the shoulder guard big, I probably didn't, again, I forgot, you don't need to name it because it's going to rename it a mesh. So now that we have the piece that's like see-through and the main piece selected, we go back into our tools and we go to boolean. I don't know if I'm saying that right. There's probably a different way to say it, boolean or something like that, but it's like B-O-O-L-E-A-N. We hit that and then bang, it's hollowed out. Now what about this piece that we made, this glowing piece? It's sticking out, it's hollowed, the bottom is out. Like, did I want that? Is that what I want? It's okay, I don't care, I like it. But now we have this mesh, and this is what we gotta rename it. Now we have big shoulder guard, all right, and then we want to take the glow. What is this? Oh, we forgot to name that too. Big shoulder guard glow. Glowing pieces labeled, because if I ever wanted to print one of these things, they'd have to be separated into its own separate category of all just the glowing pieces. But that's for another day. All right, so we're gonna select both of those and we're gonna move it into position. Now it goes over the ball, which is good in my book. It looks good to me. Oh, we gotta move it. That's what we get. That's what we gotta do. That. Scale it up a little bit, and then we have it angled like that, and higher up, over on the ball like that. So it's just this big hulking shoulder guard that is mounted into this ball. We can scale it down so that it's like touching, or I can put like some rivets in there to make it like obvious that like this is a part of that. But I don't know, it's kind of cool. It's got the back piece there, it's got the glow on both sides, it's got the opening here. I'm going to do a little bit of editing here because the glow on the inside isn't really necessary, but it's fine. Oh, we gotta rotate it. Oh no, it's big shoulder and the glow at the same time. Let's, yeah, that's a little bit better. Yeah, that's it. And then rotate it a little bit more on that axis. I like it there. I like it there. That's pretty good. Okay. Okay. Do we want it longer? If so, we hit the align tool to make it longer. Just like that, and then make it longer. Alright, so now what we want to do is just select the glow portion. And we can trim some of this, honestly. We're going to go to the trim tool. We can either make a polygon or just lasso it out. Honestly, I don't care. Let's see if we make a mistake, though. I don't know if it trimmed on the outside. Now we gotta look. Yep, that's why you can't just do that sometimes, especially when you do it at an angle. So if you are gonna like adjust something that's on an angle, take it off an angle. So we're gonna big shoulder so that it's still in position. We're gonna select both pieces, pull it up, and try to make it as close to 90 degrees as possible. All right, and so now we're gonna look at it dead on, and now we're gonna rotate it out something this way and up. There we go. Now we can just select that one, the glowing portion, go to where it says trim, the trimming portion, and try to trim. Oop. Let's see what it looks like. Did we mess up? No, it's still cool on the outside, so now it just looks, there's like a little pieces at the top and on this side here, but again, that's not going to be seen when you're looking at the robot. And if I do have an issue with it, I can add more stuff to the scene. So let's see here. Second game, let's see what we can do real quick. Not really, I'm new to the streaming stuff, so I'm gonna see how do I share this with people? My channel. Let's see, how do I put this hold on guys, I'm trying to figure out how to broadcast this or share the link. Hello there. Sorry, I'm just trying to build the arm of this thing. I kind of want to share my stream. I don't know how to do that. Or the link to my stream, but I don't know how to do that. I sound like such an old man. How do I share this? No, I didn't want to do that. I'm trying to use my phone and switching to creator mode. How do we stream this? How do we share this game? Anybody knows how to share the link? That would help me out a lot. But I don't know. All right, well, let's just get back to it. I can't figure out how to do it because I'm an old man, I guess. But that's fine. All right, so now that we built the big shoulder guard and we have the glowing piece and it's hollowed and it looks more like our picture, we're going to take it and put it into position. We gotta make sure we highlight both of them. So big shoulder guard glow and big shoulder guard. And that's how we get into the habit of naming everything. Just make sure you name everything because that makes it easier to find pieces when you go to adjust them. All right, so it looks like we're gonna rotate it up like that and then put it more towards the edge, like here, like it's on the edge of the ball. So let's move that over. And again, let's just increase the scale of the, so let's take that back. Let's increase the scale of this here. Let's see, so that's just a big shoulder arm. That's the problem when we do that. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do to snap this problem. We're gonna take all of the arm parts and move them into main arm. Alright, move all those into main arm, WA glow, and then we're gonna take main arm and separate it from big shoulder boulder arm. So that way we can adjust this freely. Sometimes I like to make a clone of like the main thing that I'm gonna make, but I like it there. Okay, so we cloned it, we made it bigger, and now we take everything from the main arm and put it back in the big shoulder arm. Bang. Just like that. All right. Okay. So now we have big shoulder arm, just like that. We're gonna move this down some. I think the angle is still too high. Let's see, main arm. Everything is selected, so it's like all highlighted. We don't really need all that. We just need those two pieces. So unhighlight everything, big shoulder guard glow, and then we're gonna drop that angle using the blue access. And I think that looks a lot better. So we got our big shoulder piece, we got our big arm, we got our big wrist, and now we have to make this hulking hand, because if you guys don't know, we're gonna have this arm hold, where is it? This gigantic sword. The scale is crazy. It's off. Don't worry, it's not gonna be that big, but we're gonna scale this arm up so that it makes sense. But I'm just making it. But can you imagine that was the size of the sword? But regardless, the sword is supposed to be big, and so is this arm. So this arm is built to hold like this giant sword and swing it like it's a butter knife. But that's the sword. Anyway. And how are we going to get it there? We will. We definitely will. Now we're going to unhighlight that. We're going to get back into the process of building the arm. It looks super tiny, I know, but it's going to be ridiculous once we scale it up. All right, so we got our wrist. We got this cylinder here. We got the wrist guard. And now we have to make a hand that fits the circumference of that bottom cylinder. Okay. So now we're gonna go to add main arm, add a box. We're gonna validate that box. We're gonna bring it down, and it's already pretty big. Let's make sure that we're at the front angle. Move it over, scale her up, move her down. I think we're gonna add another piece right there. Ooh. That's why we gotta look at it from multiple angles and stuff, because on one side it looks like it's too far. Like that. Yeah, this big hulking box of a hand. But there's a couple ways we can do this. So you don't really see the angle of what is behind the hand. So I'm thinking what we can do is, we can get away with, is moving this over, flattening it out some, like that, and then putting a sphere here like it's a palm, and like this is just like the back of the hand. So we put this like here like that, and we add a sphere, and it'll still be a big hulking hand, but it just doesn't fit the circumference of this. And then we put it on a sphere, so it's like a gyro. So we move this down some, put a sphere in between, and it's like in our head is like the sphere rotates, and this goes like, I don't know, at an angle, I guess. This can be manipulated with the arm moving up and down and left and right, and it rotates in that space. That's how we're gonna do that. How do I share this stream? The link to my stream. We're gonna find that out right now. We have 4 live viewers. Wow, that's pretty cool. Thanks, guys. Wow, there was 4 people in here at one point. That's pretty cool. I didn't notice that. All right. Okay. How do I share you? What is this? Notifications? No notifications. Sorry for the delay. I just want to know how to edit stream. Share stream. There it is. Okay. We're going to copy the link. And we're going to go to our Instagram and see. Let's see what's going on here. Instagram. Real quick, guys.
Sculpt is a medication prescribed to suppress hunger and slow down.
All right. We don't need all that. I'm gonna add this. Put that there. Hold on, gang. I'm so sorry if anybody's watching. What I'm gonna do is share the stream in case anybody else wants to come and hang out and watch her. Alright, linky link. Paste. Done. Building on Twitch. Sorry, gang. We're just trying to tell people that we're streaming. Alright. Now we're back at it. Okay. I did the thing. So now we're building on Twitch. And there it is. Cool. That's done. Let's go back to the Twitch stream thing. Sorry for the delay. Okay. Alright. So now let's get back to building. We shared it. Whether people come or not, whatever. At least we did the thing. Alright, so now we got that square. Did we decimate it? No, we didn't. Look how many polygons that thing has. And get rid of that. Lower it down some. Alright, so now we got the polygons down. Alright, and let's see what we got here. We're going to add a sphere. And we're going to test out my little theory here, if that makes sense. We're going to validate it and bring it on down. So in my mind, since we can't see what's going on the opposite side of that hand, we're going to make this wider. Let's start right now and make that wider. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to put this ball, put the ball into place here and scale her down some. Scale her down. Hey. Scale her down. And then align it. So put it like that, right? So we're gonna have to align that better. Align that a lot better. Look around to see how it looks. All right, cool. All right, so now we got this ball piece here, right? Now that ball piece it's gonna be the connecting joint for this big block square here. So there's gonna be that gap there, right? And then that's gonna rotate around inside of this ball. And also has a gizmo so that it can move around. I didn't name anything yet, but what we're gonna do is copy this sphere before we validate it and name it. We're gonna move it out, we're gonna make it smaller, and since it's the front view, we're gonna move this ball down and over, and then over, and then maybe make it smaller, because this is going to be the thumb joint, drive, whatever you want to call it. The piece where the thumb sits on. So I'm going to move it in more, bring her down some so it's away from that midline. Bring it in like that. And so it just sits like inside of this component here, just like that. And then you know what? We're going to clone it a couple more times. And we're going to move it down just like that. And then we're going to align this, make that a little bit straighter. And then we're going to put a couple fingers on there. I have 4 fingers now on this guy. Crud. So let's make this wider, I guess, because we're going to make it bigger to accompany 4 fingers. And it wouldn't necessarily be straight on either. So we're going to move it back over some, just like that. And then now we're good. Now we're going to clone this ball, move it over, and this is not knuckles necessarily. I don't think this guy necessarily has knuckles. Oh, it's still too big. Okay, so we're gonna delete the clones, delete it. Okay, so maybe just drop the scale of that main ball, because we gotta fit 4 on here. All right, now we're gonna clone it. Move this back, clone it, move it back, and clone it and move it back. Perfect. Now we fit 4 on there. They're not evenly spaced, but again, I don't care about that sometimes. I don't care about that at all, honestly, as long as it's there. Now we can start to name stuff real quick. Oh, I gotta clone this box. Clone the box, move the box out, shrink the box down, shrink it down more. Longer on both sides. Stick it out like that. Make it additive so that we know it's a glowing point. Alright, so now, okay, so we're going to name this big box the hand. Main hand. smaller box, MH glow for main hand glow. Main hand glow. MH glow. Nice, main hand glow. Now we got all these spheres. Now this is what is the big one, so we're gonna call that wrist sphere. Wrist gizmo sphere. Yeah, wrist gizmo sphere. There it is. Heck yeah. And now we're gonna go to this sphere here. We're gonna call it thumb base. Thumb base. And all the other ones, we're just gonna call one of them finger base, and then slide the other ones into the finger base. Finger base. Finger base. Alright, and then the other spheres, we're gonna just slide them into the finger base. Finger base. That goes into the finger base. That goes into finger base. Finger base is my favorite 1995 mid-core rock album. Alright, there's a dumb joke. So now we got big shoulder, boulder arm. We got the finger joints in position. Honestly, I can make those like knuckles and have the fingers come from the front part of it. Because again, we don't truly see what I drew. So the other side of it, there's all this extra space here. So what I'm thinking is let's just draw a fingy. And to make a fingy, we're gonna go to the tube tool. And they're hooked over because I want him to hold a sword. So what I'm gonna do is go whoop, path out, put a line there, and then down like that, and we need a hard edge there. And so that's a generalization of what the finger would look like that, sort of like that. But I want it to be blocky and square, so we add a profile, so now it's blocky and square. And then we're gonna add some radiuses to it to make it smaller there, bigger there, and we're just gonna make it wider, like that. Or we could put another archway in the finger like that. Yeah, sort of. But we'd have to position it. Before we validate it and make this thing real and give it its validation that it deserves, we're gonna test a little thing, like what I wanted to do. So now, it kind of has knuckles. There's a weird collision there. How do we do this? Do we run with this? It's got to be straightened out because that's crazy. It looks ridiculous right there. That crunch looks really bad. But we'll fix that right now. That line was gonna kill me. All right, so we have it angled like that, and there's the thumb portion too. So how do we do this? Because I want him to be able to have it snap 90. See, snap 90, it just makes it 90 degrees. Which is fun because it'll show you things in other spaces, which is good. Because now we can see that this is weird. We're gonna take the snap 90 off. We're gonna adjust it like that. Even though there's that weird collision in the finger, like in the ball of the finger, it's okay. It's okay. We're just gonna rotate it in like that. And since these all are gonna be separate pieces, once we do put the sword in the hand to test it out what it looks like, we're gonna be able to readjust the fingers. If we need to be like this or like that, or bigger or smaller. But for now, I like this finger. It's a little crooked, but we're gonna clone it. We'll actually delete the clone. All right, let's validate this bad boy and decimate it one time on the decimation scale, make it less polygon. We're gonna open up our arm folder and it says 2, and we can close the finger base. And we're gonna take the tube out. We want the finger base to be separate and the fingers. Name this tube finger, fingy, name it fingy. And now we're gonna clone that fingy. Clone it. Say that here, it's clone. We're gonna hit clone. We're gonna slide to the right. And clone again. Slide to the right. And clone one last time. Slide to the right. Now we can either make another clone and make it the thumb. So let me take the clone tool, or we can just build our own thumb piece. But you know, whatever works. We just make it bigger, like not bigger, like longer. And let's scale her down so, and then make her wider. That's what we'll do. There, can we make it wider? Bang! That's how you do that, boys and girls. Anybody's watching. Cool. All right, so that's there like that. Scale. Yeah. Now we have a thumb. We got the fingers going like that, and then the thumb going straight down above them, like that, with a little bit of space. Oh, we don't need the wire. I don't like using the wire. Cool. But let's make sure it doesn't look as bad in that space. So we're gonna bring this up so it's on the ball. We got some space there. And we pretty much got this bad boy's hand, huh? Look at this big old hand. Big old ridiculous arm. Oh, we gotta turn on that shoulder base. I don't want it to turn off. But honestly, we might have to scale it up a bit. But we're gonna see. I think I need to scale it up a bit. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna grab all the fingers, finger base, thumb base, wrist gizmo. Oh, maybe not the wrist gizmo. But we have everything else, right? Oh, we forgot to get the hand itself. Womp womp. Where is that at? Main hand glow. Now we can scale it up. Because I want it to be ridiculously massive for no reason. Honestly, we might not need the ball there. If I do this, if I just do what the original design was, we might not need it. Because the hand is so freaking big. Let's move it over a little bit. Let's make it a little bit more even. Yeah, look at this big old hand. That's ridiculous. That looks, honestly, it looks better. He's got a big ass arm there. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's see. Let's do something real quick. Alright. Let's see, did I do that right? Alright, so now we're back at it. I think I shared a thingy. Alright, here we go. So now we're going to adjust. Ooh, now that we made the hand nice and ridiculously big and there's no weird collisions. Alright, we're going to adjust just this piece here. Again, I have 4 pieces there, so that means we need to split this bad boy into 4 pieces. Let's see what we got going on here. We're going to go split, rectangle, because it's perfect for this, and then we're just going to split that part. Move it out so we can see it. So we're going to move this one over, and again, we're going to move this one back. And then we're going to split again in a rectangle. Oh, look at that. Kimchi Poppy is here. Hey, buddy. Hey, my boy is here. Hey, boyo. That's cool. I got a little notification. That's really cool. Thanks for stopping in, my guy. Oh. Hey, my guy's tired. Well, go to bed, boyo. Thanks for stopping in, though. I love you, man. An hour. My break is almost over. Oh, I'm sorry you made it to work late, but you know, oh, you're at work, so yeah, you got a couple minutes to just breathe. Get you some coffee, my dude. I don't know if you guys have coffee over there. And then get back into it. But I love you, Calvin. Thanks for stopping in, boyo. Alright, so we're gonna take this last portion and it's too far back. Now we gotta make it there and then split it again. And now we got 4 pieces of the glowing hand. Oh, no, I got your stream late because I just got the notification. No worries, boyo. That's cool, brother. I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping in, my man. I love you, dude. That's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I'm just building a robot piece by piece. Oh, that guy. You guys, I don't know if anyone's there or not, but hey, my guy. I like that guy a lot. He's really cool. He streams himself, so follow him if anybody watches this later or stops in. Alright, so now we have the massive arm, giant arm, looking lit. Thanks, buddy. Thank you. It's pretty much the same as the drawing. And that's the fun part about it, because I didn't draw it so that you could see the other side of the hand, so whatever we do decide to put here is fine. I think I'm going to leave it bare bones like that, because when I put the sword there, it's going to make more sense. But we have to scale this up a lot, because our sword is like 18 times bigger than the arm. So we have to readjust the scale of the arm. Even though the idea is that it is a big sword and a big arm, the arm needs to be a lot bigger. So let's get that part going. So we're gonna unselect our sword. I'm gonna leave it on so I can see the scale of it, but it's unselected. And so now we're gonna select just the big shoulder boulder arm and all of its components. So to do that, when it's open like this, it's kind of hard to do, so you close it and then you just click it and highlight it, and it'll take the entire arm. So let's make it visible, and then this outer rim here scales up your arm. So we're gonna make this a lot bigger. Just keep scaling it up. I think that's a little too big, but I don't know, I kind of like ridiculous proportions on the arm itself. So now that they're about the same size, I think we're gonna let that be there. We're gonna let that be there. Boop. And now we're gonna just take a look at the sword itself. So we're gonna unhighlight the big shoulder boulder arm and just highlight the sword. And then we're gonna go snap 90, so it turns everything 90 degrees. Lowers it down. And bada bing, we got a big ass little thin sword. It's big, but it's like thin, it's like paper thin. So we have a couple options. We could either make the sword gigantic, even more so, make it wider, because he's not really holding it. I can adjust the fingers. I can adjust the fingers, but like, I don't know, I think it's really funny. Because it's like I made this big ass arm to hold a big ass sword, but it has this little tiny baby grip. And there's a weird collision with the thumb, but that's okay. That's okay, we'll fix it. We will definitely fix it. Alright, so we have some options to work with here. We can either, like I said, make the sword wider, whoop, like that, and then make it just the scale of it, a monstrosity. Oh man, I don't really know how I'm gonna handle this, but this is what I wanted with this weapon. I wanted it to be like hulkingly big compared to the arm. Honestly, that's pretty good, because it's supposed to be like a great sword, like a bastard great sword. Just, yeah, that scale is a little bigger. What I think I can do is I can make the hilt a little bit fatter. Let's make it longer too. Let's make it a little bit longer. A little bit longer. I mean, it throws off the scale a bit, but that's fine. And then we're gonna adjust the fingies to like have more of a grip on this thing. And that's why we keep everything separate,
so that when it's time, oops, snap. Let's do snap 45 instead of snap 90. We might not need to snap at all, but I kind of want them to be even though sometimes I don't. But snap 45. Ah. Okay, snap 45 isn't that bad. Snap 45 clutches the weapon, so I think we can move the weapon a little bit. Snap 45 is good. Yeah, I like snap 45. And then I think for the main pointer finger, will it work? Will it be a weird occlusion? Yeah, I mean, kinda. Let's rotate the thumb some. Like that way, sort of. So it looks like more like a fist. Okay. Alright, so I think that's good. And now we're gonna unhighlight boulder shoulder and move sword 1 into that crevice there. And let's move it, I don't know, let's move it up a little? I don't know, how would I hold this thing? It would be like a little knife in my giant monster hand. Let's move that up there. Alright, let's put that there like that. Pretty good. Alright, and for scale, that is a gigantic sword and a gigantic arm. Let's see the other ports. Turn that out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Move these two over and down, just like that. It's so much bigger. It's so much bigger. He's so undersized. Could have shrink them both a bit for scale reasons. Alright, I think that's good. It's still unbelievably large. And when we go to building it, we're gonna have to put this somewhere. Okay. Alright, I like it. I like it. The arms are both done. Now we need to build. I'm thinking we build the frame. Or do I want to build the legs? Because I made the legs kind of really complicated for no reason. Wait, let's 45 that. That's so crazy to look at. Alright, so we're putting that back. I think we did it though, to be honest. But we're gonna have to rotate some things in a different space. That's fine. Alright, so turn off this. Turn off the sword. Remove that. Turn that off. Alright, so next we're gonna do the midsection. So we're gonna change our reference image. Do I have the midsection? There it is. Alright, so now we're going to build the midsection. So on the front of the midsection, we have it uneven because the one side has the giant hulking arm, and I gave it like 3 different glowing things here, and then the ball bearing, and then a bigger shoulder socket joint on the one side. And if you look on the back, there's like this extra piece here that has all this extra energy so that it could pick up that heavy ass sword and just use a lot more energy conversion to that arm. And on the left hand side, the smaller side, it has like a magnetic thing where the sword can just be thunked onto his back. So if he's just standing there like this, menacingly, like ridiculously big heavy hanging arms, his sword can be just magnetically attached to his back. And then we have the spine. So on this, I'm going to start with, I try to give it extra layers, like the lighter portion next to the center of it is another layer. So how do we begin with this? Let's make a box. Start with a box, or let's start with a tube. Because tubes are very, very easy to manipulate. So we're gonna make a path with a tube, like yay big like this, and then add a profile, and we're gonna just scale this monstrosity up. Is it profile front facing home? Yeah, okay. Alright, so profile, I want more vertices, I want more like angles to this thing, so we're gonna put that there. Oh, hard curve, hard curve, hard curve. Ooh. And that gives it more sides, guys. Gives it more sides. Boop. We just add more things to it. More dots. They're not even. I gotta even it up. Sync. It's definitely off by a lot. It's uneven. It's definitely uneven, but it gave us more wonky sides. Look at these sides, they're wonky. Bring you in. Bring you in. Yeah. Can I add another side? I could add more sides if I wanted to. Okay, we're gonna get rid of that. It's all wonky. Huh. Alright, so we got this wonky, like, shape. It's not perfect because my profile shit is bad. Alright, so we're gonna start from the bottom. 1, 2. Corner. In, up, up. Corner. In, up. Hard. Corner. In, up. Corner, in, out. Okay. I mean, it kind of gave us more stuff to work with, like I said. But I gotta rotate this bad boy along. Take off the snap tool. Put it up like that. And, yeah. See, like that. Scaling up gives out a lot more vertices. Oh, I'm getting tired and hungry and sad, but it's okay. We're gonna keep going. Undo. I am having trouble deciding what I want to do because I think it's just because I'm hungry. I'm a little bit hungry. And everything is closed because it's Easter. Validate this. Let's look at it. Let's see, what do we need? I think I could have just made a box, right? Because from the drawing it looks like flat. Okay. We're gonna delete this too. I know what I'm gonna do. Center, make another tube. Here. Ooh. Flat, path, line. Snap, profile, edit the profile, and we had, what does it look like? Like rhombusy? Let's make it like that, sort of again, but like wider. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, is that it? Okay. Scale that motherfucker up. Okay. Snap 90. 45 is fine. We can snap 45 twice. 1, 2. Oh, actually, we need it the other way because that's the back. So I'm looking at this from the back, and it's helping me gain an understanding of the shape that I want. Okay, so now that we have it like that, let's make it backwards, wider, yeah. Okay, and then we're gonna need a couple of different axes on it, radiuses. So this one's gonna be wider because it's expanding towards the top, right? And that one's gonna be smaller because it's narrower. Alright, so that's how we have this base piece of his body. Good job me making that back version of it. So the back there looks like this, and then the front looks sort of like that. And let's validate this bad boy. I think this is what we're gonna rock with for now, because we can put the lights on this body here. Wait. Okay, so we got to turn this back around because this is the way the back looks. The front is more flat, sort of, right? It goes outward like that. Okay, but somehow we have it seeable on the other side. Okay, so since we didn't validate it yet, this opposite side here. Okay, so the front, we also have, it's just hard to see this in 3D, but that's the fun of this, figuring this out. We're gonna figure this out, because I have it so that you can see the lights in the front as well. So what I could do is just validate it and cut the corners, or I can figure out how to use this profile tool better. That's not it, but okay, so we're gonna start with this side too, because it's inverted for some reason. I don't know why it's inverted when you try to manipulate it. Okay, so I know I need another, like 6. There's got to be like 6 of them, right? Wait. Okay, yeah. And then I'll go all the way around it, right? Can we make it round? I don't want it round. I want him hard. Stepped over there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, how many we got? 1, 2, 3. Cool. My side. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Sort of looks more like it. And we can clearly see from both sides, whatever side we use, you'll be able to see the what is it called? The glowing pieces on the bottom. So I think this is going to be the shape. This is going to be the shape for the body. The back side is thinner, so this is the back. So we're going to have to turn this thing around and build. But let's validate it because I like it a lot. And then, oh, wow, pretty low polygon count on this bad boy. All right, so we don't have to decimate them at all. Snap 90. Let's do some 90 because it makes it easier to rotate 90. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. So now that's the front, and then that's the back, which is the smaller side. All right. Sort of looks right. Okay. So now let's go back to the front side, because we got a lot of editing to do in the front. I don't want it to be hollow like how I have it here, but I do want to cut a piece of this out. And in order to do that without cutting all the way through, we'd have to cut this bad boy in half. So we're gonna go from the top view like that, and we're gonna use our split tool. Let's name this guy. Well, no, because we're gonna split it, and name it torso. Torso mid. Let's get on the midsection. Mid-section. This is what we're building now. We're gonna move it up here and not into that, above the curves. Alright, so top, straight on. It's crooked. Probably should have looked at it before I validated it. One of the sides is off. But I'm okay with that because one of the sides is bigger. So let's just have it bigger. That's the side that's bigger anyway. Alright, so anyway. So now we're going to cut this in half. Or, yeah, no, we're cutting it in half. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to split, go down to our split tool, split, rectangle, and just pick a spot and cut it. Bang. And now we should have two pieces, midsection and midsection split. Midsection split is the one that we want to work on because it's the front. And the front, we have this cut out here before there's like a metal piece in the middle. So here's why I'm going to cut that out. We can either do the boolean tool with a sphere, because I think that's what I want to try first. We're going to try that first. A sphere. We're going to validate it. We're going to find it. Oh my god, it's so small. Zoom in. Oh my god, the scale. Okay, we gotta... Why is this so big? Alright, we're gonna... Oh shit. We're gonna select both pieces and make them small so we could work. Boom. Alright, where's the sphere at? Because it's still like microscopic. Sphere, sphere, sphere. Oh my god, okay. Alright, so we need this little section in the middle here cut out. And so that's what we're gonna do with the boolean tool. So I kinda have it like round right underneath that part and then straight jagged edges. So we're gonna select the split and then the sphere, we're gonna turn it off, select it together, and then boolean. Bang. And it made this little divot here. Now, there's a couple things that we need to figure out. Do we keep it just like that, or do we undo it? Oh no, let's redo it. Let's leave it there like that for now. But we can also use the trim tool and make it hollow. So we're gonna use the trim tool and try that out real quick. And then make a polygon just here. And then make those hard edges in the corner. Oh boy. Hard edge in the corner, hard edge in the corner. Like that. Like that. Move this in like that. You know what? Let's just do this just to try it out, see what we got going on. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There it is. Just to try it out. Boom. See what happened when we did that. Now we got this weird hollowed out uneven ball thing with harder edges. I don't like it. So undo. And then we can just do, honestly we could leave it like that. It doesn't need to be one for one there, but we needed this hollowed out portion. I think we should hollow it out some more. Pretty cool, honestly. I just like having this little piece here. I don't know what I want to do with it. Well, let's work on, before we continue, because I think I'm doing too much there. Let's delete this sphere. And let's make the rib cage, I guess? I don't know. Like it's standing base. Let's make whatever we're gonna call that. And for that, we're gonna need the tube tool again. This time we're gonna need a path, and it's gotta be closed. We're gonna delete the path that we have set there. and just make like a square. I want to make like a loose. You know what? We can also try the donut tool. But no, I kind of want it more boxy, sort of like this. Sort of like that. Yeah. Alright, so we do the gizmo. We're going to snap 90. There it is. Snap 90. We're going to turn the snap 90 off a little bit. Go back to the gizmo. And now we can have this like this, but I kind of want to raise it up some and then add another axis. It makes it have like this bend to it. That's pretty good. It's not going to be even, or it's never perfect. It's never perfect, but I like it. So we're going to validate this. Oop, autosave. Autosave, remember, save after the autosave, even though it just auto-saved. It just helps because it still says we're still working on the shoulder. We're past that. All right, so now that we have this shape that I wanted, let's make it longer here so it fits more of the design. Let's give it one hard edge, soft boy edges on the other stuff. Drop this down. Something like that. That's good enough, I think. I think that's good enough. We're gonna validate it and decimate, and then bring her on down. And then we're gonna use our friend, mesh. We didn't name that again. Chest piece front. Let's do one more thing. Copy. Put this here. It's on my mind. Paste. Hold on, guys. Just checking some stuff
Say you
out.
wanna make amends before I go. Now you wanna put your heart on the line.
Oh, wow.
God knows the
Wow.
Say you wanna make amends.
Okay, sorry, gang. Just getting text messages and checking on stuff. Okay, so we're done there. I just had to share the link on Facebook. I don't know. Anybody wants to come watch? There it is. And then, okay, cool. All right, we're back at it. All right, so this tube that we made, we're going to go to our add portion and go to curve. And then add a radius. So now what we're doing is we're making like his spine. Like how crooked that is. Can we straighten that out just a little bit? There it is. We're making this big spine for this guy. And then we have the two axes. We're going to put this here like that, and we're going to rotate that like that. I don't know if I wanted to sit on his back like that, but let's see when we increase the count, what it looks like. It's definitely crooked. Can't have it going through the back like that. This is why we play with stuff. Even though we made it kind of crooked, it's fine. I like it. Nope, too big of a scale. I'm just making it like that. I'm gonna move it over. We might have to redo this because it's like off on the scale. All right, let's delete that, and then this one we're gonna fix. We're gonna fix this in space before we start adding stuff to it. So we're gonna run with that. Now we're gonna add the curve. Curve's gonna go up like that. It's more even. We're gonna add a multiple radius so we can make this one smaller and increase the count. Look at it. It's much better now that we aligned it before we started messing with it. Now I wanted to make this square shape with the softer back. I don't know. I just like this as a repeating part of the spine. Oh man. Okay, that's good. And so now what we always do when we make like spines and repeating patterns, we clone it. Clone. And then now that that's cloned, we're gonna highlight just the curve one. Make it, ooh, we don't want to move it. We just want to make it smaller. Not that small, like that, and increase the count. Increase the count. So now we got like this repeating. Oh, it's too big. Now we got this thing that oh, come on. Can I look at it? There we go. Now we got this interesting pattern for its spine, but it's too straight. So we're gonna delete, and then go back to the original. Delete. Still there? Delete. Okay, so now we have the original. We're gonna move this, like, put an arch in it, so. Because the straight is too, it's too, like, eh. But with a curve there like that, I like that a lot. And now we're gonna just say, move over that way, buddy. Move that way, son. And let's stretch it into that opening there. Maybe that's what this opening needs, just like this to be stretched into it. Something like that, so it doesn't diminish the pattern. More of an arch there like that. So we're gonna put another one here so that we can make this a little bit straighter, and so it looks like that. There we go. I like that a lot more. So now that's the base one, like that. So, didn't want to shrink it. Just wanted to look. Honestly, that's fine right there, just like that. And we're gonna make the base. That means his legs are gonna be huge. We get small. Make this smaller, right? Because the thing is, his legs are gonna be giant, and I'm okay with that. Honestly, let's just make that spine there. Put it. No, we need it more crooked. Cause I just wanted to like touch the back there. There's space on the back there. Alright, undo. Okay, that should be fine, right? That should be fine. Now we're gonna clone this. Starting to get sad, but it's okay. Let's keep on going. Okay, now that we have that there, we're going to increase the count. Whoa, whoa. Make it smaller, make it smaller. I think that's too small. I think that's cool. It's got this triple, double layer thing going on, right? Because that's clearly not enough, not enough, not enough, enough. Right there's just enough. And then we're going to have glowing bits. Unless we increase the... Alright, that's cool enough. I like it. It's got this big, thick spine. Because he's gonna need it. Alright, we're gonna join the children. We're gonna decimate. One more decimate. And then go to the other one, curve 1. Validate, join children, decimate. And that is his big ass midsection. Oh man. Alright. Next portion that we can work on from the front of this guy. Oh, let's name this spine. Spine inner. Maybe we can listen to some music or something, huh? Let's see if we can run on some music. Alright, that should be good. Hope it's not too loud. Whoa, that's too loud. Alright. A little music going in the background. Hopefully it's not too loud. Jesse needs something to help me stay out of my head. Because it's not good in there. Alright, so now we're going to add to the front here this extra square. But we're just going to make 2 pieces. And a path, open path. And it's going to go from here. Oh, no, we don't care about that. We just want to do that hard edge till about here. Alright? And then we give it a profile so it's nice and flat on top of the front. Scale her down, maybe. Scale her down. Sit her down. Simmer down. Okay. And it's just some extra pieces. We're gonna validate that, see if we need to decimate it just one time. And then we're gonna go to our gizmo tool. We're going to clone it, remove it, put it back in that spot, hit the symmetry tool and hit flip object. Did it work? Oh, it's way over there. Okay, so it kind of worked, but it's a mile away. So we're gonna hit the pivot tool at center, hit a line, and then just drag it right into position. Somewhere like there. These sides are uneven. That's right. So I honestly forgot why. Oh yeah, because that side needs to be bigger, so it's just bigger. And this is just a detail part of it. Ooh. Let's move it in so that it hangs off like that. I kind of want it to hang off a little bit. I like how it's uneven. It's bigger, yeah, this one's smaller. It's still hanging off, but let's get her up a little bit like that. Cool. Next, we are going to, it seems like there's a line there, so we're going to name this accessory, chest accessory. I just want bits and stuff. Alright, so now we got the chest accessory parts hanging off of our guy there. And the centerpiece, which is going to be off of another piece that sticks out, that's where we're going to put the hole. So we're going to build that piece. We're going to add a box. And just because it's so much easier to do, make the box incredibly big for some reason, because I scaled everything up to 1,000,000. Make the box. Drop her on down. Move it up, forward, up. And what we need from this box is it for it to, let's make it longer, to fit on these pieces here. Sort of like this. And so we got a lot of trimming to do on this box. We're gonna validate it and then decimate. Next step would be to cut out this circle piece here. So we're just gonna trim it with the ellipses. Trim, ellipses, circle. Pray that that's good enough. It's a little too high. Trim like this face off of it, because we wanted it to poke out but like not cover up the detail that we just made. That makes no sense. So we're gonna trim and align this way. Line is tricky. I don't really like using line because it sometimes makes the whole thing crash. So we're gonna use rectangle there. And lasso that way. And lasso that way. We kinda did it. Let's make it bigger though. Let's gizmo feeling that a little bit more. Feeling that a little bit more. So it's just like on those pieces, and then this is where the hollow thing is gonna go. Okay, so now we're going to trim, or we can make it stick out, because again, in the drawing, it doesn't really show what it's doing. So it's either we can hollow it out like a chest cavity, or we can just place a ball in there and validate that sucker. Chest accessory. Let's call it cavity. Okay. So we have some options here. We can either hollow it out more, or let's add the ball. Let's add the sphere and see what it looks like. Again, just gonna try some stuff. Too big of a ball. Pretty good there. Okay, let's validate that sphere. Chest cavity, just like that. We could use this as the additive and just have it like that. It's just sticking out, kind of, which is cool. We're gonna leave that as a placeholder because I have two ideas: either make it hollow like that, or make it like inside of his body. But sticking at the outside looks kind of cool. So for now, for now it's cool. What else? All right, so we got to do the lights, and then we got to do something with the top portion here. But I think with the top portion, let's do that real quick. I think I can manage to do that without messing it up too bad. Make a path. Let's try a curve, a closed curve. Where we just come around like so, and then how do we do this? How do we do this? Give it a profile, yeah. All right, I'm gonna delete that and try again, even though that's pretty much it. Yeah. Path. Top. Close path. I think it needs to all be sharp. Sharp, 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 sharp. Yeah. Sort of like that. Huh? Sort of like that. Scale it down. Align this one up. Over. Okay, so we just need to pull some stuff up. Top. And then we're gonna do that curve thing again, because it needs to look raised up. So we're gonna do that profile look. I don't know. I think there needs to be. The opposite. Something like that. Alright, so we're gonna leave it like that for now. And raise it up, because it's like curved. Oh, I don't want to do that part. That was pretty good until we did that. Okay, I'm gonna validate this and give it a shot. Give it a shot. Decimate, decimate, decimate. And then we're gonna add a curve. Hell yeah, big curve, baby. And we're gonna take this initial one and put it like inside like that. I'm gonna read this. Okay, it's inside like that, and we need a lot of I don't need it that far away. Okay, so it needs to be less. It needs to be like that. Shrink. Why are you like crooked now? It's sort of there, but we need it like this. Something like that, maybe? Or maybe we just don't need the curve and just make one. Get rid of the curve and just have that one piece. Now we gotta think. How do we process this in our head? Let's delete this. Let's add a box. Validate them. Scale. Something like this. So what I'm thinking is we start just shaving out pieces that we don't need, because we do need something like angled like this. Like that. Alright, yeah. Pretty good. Decimate. Good. And then our trusty trim tool. Trim all that. Something like that. Okay. so we need that as a base. And then I need this hollowed out. Okay, so let's try it. Trim. Polygon. Okay, it's getting there. And these edges are too hard, so we're just gonna I think that's better. Okay. Now we got to deal with these hard edges in the back. And then just these hard edges at the top here, I think, have to go, and then we got it. Something like that. I kind of like that there's a V here, like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. It's uneven, it's crooked, I like it. So it's like this shelf where he's sitting. That's why I kind of want to make this hollow here. I don't know, he's got like this neck guard that I liked a lot. Okay. And so in between here and here, okay, so we're gonna call that neck guard. Reminds me of Brian Bosworth, the football player. He had a giant neck guard. I'm old. Alright, neck guard. Coming together. Alright, so now we gotta do the ball joints. Let's do the ball joints and then do like the accessories on the side. Sphere. Validate, decimate, 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 decimate. And then we're gonna increase this size of this thing to a massive scale. At least on one side is going to be bigger than the other. So it's way too big. Scale her down. Because we still need it massive. More back there like that. And that was going to be bigger. And we're going to call this shoulder insert. Big shoulder insert. Big. There. Okay, so we've made the big shoulder insert, and now so the other side we're gonna shrink it because it's uneven, like purposefully, and we're gonna call this little shoulder insert. Spelled it wrong, but don't mind that. Alright, so then we're gonna make a clone of this. Do I boolean it? Let's try it. Let's see. Oh, I shouldn't have named it if I was gonna do that. Just so it looks like a big shoulder insert. Alright. Fit another sphere inside there. Validate, decimate, 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 decimate. Just fits in there like that. Just to show you guys, so it looks like that. This I'm gonna rotate more. Yeah, like that. Alright, so then that's the inner mesh becomes just be naming stuff, guys. I don't know. Figure it out. Figure it out. Alright, and so now we need like a cylinder. But the easier way to do it is just use the tube tool. Use the tube tool. So we're gonna need tube path, open path, straight up like this. This tube nice and big, and we're gonna move it into position like that, and we're gonna see if this is enough for that big arm. So let's go to the arm, big shoulder boulder arm. Where's it at? Oh my god, it's so small. Why am I building this thing so big if it's already okay? Okay, I'm gonna fix all that right now. Don't you worry. We're gonna turn that off so I don't do anything, and we're just gonna move everything, which we should have did a long time ago, into the chest cavity and shrink this thing down. We're gonna shrink it down. Always going into chest piece front. And the reason we do this is so that we can scale it all down at the same time. So now we have everything selected. Shrinky, binky, binky, binky. Show me the arm. Pretty much it. Alright. So, alright, we're going to unhighlight that, and then just highlight this, and then we're going to move them on over into position. Smaller. Just to see what we got cooking over here. Make them smaller. Move them over. This needs to be a lot smaller. guy's got a big arm connected over there. Heck yeah. Sort of looks good. Can I make it move smaller? I just have this freaky freaking arm. Is there going to be enough spacing for his legs? Honestly, that's looking cool. That's pretty cool so far. I think the arm is, maybe it's his midsection that's bothering me. Like, he's got to be big, but I don't know if I want like that arm to like drag on the ground or be like at the ground. So let's turn that off again. Chest piece, even smaller. Sorry. And then select that and move his head over. Because I also want him, I don't want to say it until I do it, but I also want him to have the sword in an interesting thing when I do an action pose for this guy. So, I don't know. But I like the neck guard so far. It's turning out kind of cool. I don't know if it needs to be a little bit bigger. I think he needs to be a little bit bigger. I'm listening. Oh, hey, my boy's back. Hey, buddy, how's work going? Yeah, Need is a good song. All right, let's see here. Let's flee from me. Let's see if we scale it up just a little bit and move her over just a little bit, just so we can see. Because I want the proportions to be ridiculous, but I don't know how ridiculous I need them to be. Let's move the head in position again. Bigger. It's relief for 21, 65, 21. Okay. Okay, that's cool, bud. That's cool, yeah. I hate hour strings, man. They get on my nerves. 6 to 5 is it's whatever, but hour strings suck. Yeah, so I like the head. Maybe it's just his midsection. Maybe like his spine has too many rows. So let's go into the chest piece. Let's finish validating this here, this shoulder connector, because I like it a lot. So we're gonna decimate. Oh, it's already small on polygon count. We usually switch from hour to hour 20s every night, so we're gonna do an hour. Next we're gonna do hour 20. Yikes! I could not do that, boyo. That sounds awful. Hour 20s. This tank Metabot. I just wanted to have I wanted to make a berserker robot, which is filled with rage, and then I wanted him to have one gigantic cannon of an arm that can hold a really big sword. Hold on, let's see, sword one. So this is the sword, and in comparison to his size, it's absolutely it's a monstrosity. But the idea is that he's really big and he's really angry, and then when he gets super angry, he changes into a different form, just a lot more glowing bits. But I don't really know how to express that. I know I wanted to do stuff with asymmetry, so the side that has the bigger arm has a little bit more on it. I don't know why, but I see this and think of a mechanic skull Greymon minus this shark missile. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's good. Yeah, a mechanical skull Greymon. That's funny. I don't know. Yeah, so I wanted him to be a berserker with one giant arm and one giant ass sword, and I'm just trying to figure out the scale of everything because, like I said, one side needs to be bigger than the other, and you can see in the shoulder that one is bigger than the other one. I just made it red so that it's obvious, but like that shoulder is way bigger than this one, and that's okay because the opposite arm is a lot smaller. I just haven't built the pieces to go around it yet. But that other arm is a lot smaller, but it's really cool. It just has all this fabric and stuff and spikes. Yeah, so I wanted him to have an uneven body all the way around. I was gonna just maybe making one arm absolutely massive and bladed and bulky and just one, just like a Mickey Mouse arm. Yeah, pretty much. That's what I did. Gave him like a claw. I didn't even give him a hand. I gave him like little itty bitty claws with detail. I don't know why I put so much detail in such a tiny hand, but I don't know. Figured to convey rage. Oh yeah, but I mean it's ridiculously big as it is right now. Like the comparison is it's obviously too big and too small. Hold on, let me close all this too, and then select the other arm, the claw arm, so we can make some movements into positioning. Yeah, I think it's gonna be like right there. But yeah, as you can see, his other arm is absolutely tiny. But I mean, I guess a tiny claw arm is useful at some point. I don't know, but it pales in comparison to his other arm. And like, I don't know. That was the thing I wanted. I just wanted a big ass robot dude with a giant freaking sword. And I think the sword is too big. I have two versions of the sword. I have like a regular version of it, but look how tiny this is. This hasn't been like colored or anything. It's just the broken pieces, and like this is when he's not angry, but then when he becomes angry, it becomes this giant ass sword. But so I don't know if it needs to be that big. Like it just be like it splits apart more, and then like you could see like the energy flowing out of it. But this is the original sword. Let's just move that out the way so we can see it. This is my idea for the sword. Let's snap 45 so I can put it on his back. 45. Is anger his own, or is it a JJK? I have an anger rage demon in me. I don't know, man. It's just I don't know. What does it say here? I know you don't like comparisons so much, but it reminds me of a character I made in All Swords class changing. If you decide to focus on cannon or swords are balanced, then he gets. Oh, that's pretty cool. Is anger his own, or is it a JJK? I have an anger rage demon inside of me. So I think it's his own thing. It's just, I think he's like built that way and he doesn't understand why. Sort of like me. I get really angry, but like I don't need to. So I think it's just learning how to deal with it. But this was my original idea for the sword, like snap, like carried on his back like that. I feel like that would help a lot with motif and design. Yeah. I think it's just like whatever vengeful creator made this guy. I mean, it's sort of like a D&D thing. So it's like he is a berserker, but he's a robot or an android or something. And so his creator made him like with just anger in his heart, and he's just freaking angry and he doesn't know why, but it makes him stronger and sort of likes it. But yeah, so this is my idea for the sword itself. Just as you can see on the design down here, I put like on this side it's gonna be like a giant magnet, on the left hand side like on the smaller side, and then like an extra like battery or something here that helps move the gizmos in the big ass right arm. But the sword is just like clunk metal to its back, and it just like swink, and it's like stuck to him. It's like stuck to his back, and it would go there. Or just hold it like this big ass sword that he has here. Like I honestly need to scale it down some because it's so big. I think the way that I have it now on his back is perfect. But again, once I do the action poses and stuff, I'm gonna have this sword on standby because a lot of things are gonna change.
Maybe learning how to deal with it could make just everything too big to symbolize, yes, he gets power from anger, but again, can't control it. So maybe one side being stupid big would be cool, but I like what you have. Cloud Strife Robos.
Thanks, boy. I appreciate the support, my man. Cloud, you're very funny, Calvin. I love you, bud. I love you a lot. All right. Well, since we have that in position, let's finish building the connector joint in his arm. We can turn off some of this stuff because eventually we're gonna have to move it anyway. I don't need the sword there. I just like that way. It's starting to look really cool so far. I can't wait to do his legs. And pretty much we'll be done with the base one. But again, I think his midsection is too much. There's too much going on here. So I want to like either cut it in half or just let it be in C, because the way that I have his sword set up, I don't need his midsection to be that big. So let's turn off the sword on his back, even though I love the way it's starting to look. Turn that off. We can leave the arm in position. And now let's work on this shoulder, this smaller shoulder. So we have the little shoulder insert, and I spelled it wrong, but it's okay. So what I'm gonna do is clone it. I'm gonna go to our gizmo tool. We're gonna hit clone.
He looks like the final boss in Persona 5 base game.
Oh, really? That's cool. That's pretty cool. All right, so we're gonna shrink this down. We're gonna lower it. And then we're going to do, well, actually, you know what? Let's make it higher on this one. Let's put it there. So then we're going to go to our tools. We're going to go to chest piece front. We're going to open it up. And little shoulder insert, we're going to leave on. Little shoulder insert 1. And we're going to turn that one off. Select them both. Hit Boolean. I don't know how to say this word. Boolean. I don't know how to say it. But I don't know if it's Boyin or Bolean. I don't know. I don't think it's wrong. Anyway, we're going to hit that. And now we got this hollowed out shoulder joint. There's weird collision here from the shoulder, but that's okay, because we're gonna add another spear, and we gotta rename this little shoulder insert. Now we have that named. Oh, there's a tube that's not named. Tube, what are you? Oh, the shoulder socket, I don't know. Big shoulder socket. Everything's got a name. Gotta name all your parts. Alright, let's see. So we need another ball here. What's that?
What you got jamming in the background, boyo?
Oh, just some lo-fi Spotify channel. Just this, it helps me stay out of my head and keep calm. Instead of like hardcore rapper stuff. Ooh, I don't want that. So I just put on some lo-fi. Yeah, the Lo-Fi Girl, whatever. There's like a station on Spotify that just has that, and I just keep it on standby for making art. Alright, so we cloned the big shoulder insert connector, and then we're gonna shrink it, and then we're gonna rename it little shoulder insert connector. We just gotta make sure we put it in position, and it's still big enough, not too big where it doesn't fit inside that spot. A little smaller, back it up, bring it down, because we don't want to have weird collisions.
Persona 5 got me listening to a lot of slow jazzy lately.
Yeah, it's not bad, you know. It makes you like, I don't want to be hype. Like, I'm not working out, so like I don't really need like hype music. I need something that just puts me in the zone. I need to take an edible and just really get into it, but I don't know if that'll mess me up while I'm streaming, so I don't know if I want to do that. Let's zoom in and check it out. So the top part looks a little too big still. It looks... what do we got here?
Beneath the Mask night version is really good for reviving and relaxing.
Cool. I'll check it out.
I took an edible playing a farming game and it was too much.
Yeah. That's I got some in the fridge. I'm just debating on whether or not I want to take it or not. But it's getting late, so it's like either do it or don't. Because I got the gym tomorrow. I gotta go to work, and if I do it too late, I'll be out all day, and I don't want to do that.
There's also a homemade brownie that was dummy fat.
Yeah. Homemade edibles are... You can't really ration how much is in each thing, so that's the problem with them. All right, hold on. Let's turn off this arm for a minute, just so I can see. Little shoulder arm. Boom, gone. There we go. Now we can see what we're doing. We got to make sure that this fits in there, and it hides any of the weird collisions. I like it. I think it's good enough.
But it was also... Oh, yeah.
So, this fits...
Oh. Go back. You silly. I'll be back, boy. Yeah, light. Alright, boy. Have a good shift, my man. I'm gonna be here doing this until I'm done, I guess. Alright. I love you, man. Have a good shift. Thanks for stopping in again. Good guy. All right. Let's see what we got going here. I think that's good enough. So now we're gonna rename this little shoulder insert connector. We can also take this one here, clone it, and then snap 45 all the way around until it's in place. Move it over, move it up, shrink it down that way, align it that way. Turn on the arm, see where it's at. Oh, that's perfect. That went in just perfectly. I like that. I like that a lot. So it's got the insert with the insert. Maybe we can rotate this down some. Turn off snap 45 so we can rotate it a lot less. There, like that. Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of cool. It's kind of like, it's not really straight. But I like it. This one's rounded. This one's not so rounded. Again, the asymmetry is working for me. I like that a lot. Let's take a gander. Pretty good. Looking pretty good. All right, so we got to do the stuff for his back. And 1 second, gang. Gonna take a quick restroom break. Get right back to it.